Hey everyone, today's my birthday.
Aw, you guys.
So to celebrate, we're going to talk about my top 10 favorite Sonic the Hedgehog video games. Sonic's been a part of my life since 1996 when I first played Sonic 2. Never beat the game though, not until the early 2010s. The Sega Genesis my family owned back in '99 went missing, and while I did eventually get the Sonic Mega Collection Plus for the PlayStation 2, I never used it to play Sonic 2. I was mainly playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Spinball, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Man, I was so happy to see that come back in Sonic Mania. My love for Sonic has now gotten to the point where I've created a rule that wherever I walk into, no matter what it is, no matter how much it costs, if I see something Sonic related, I buy it. I've bought many statues, Funko Pops, t-shirts, hats. I even collect the IDW comic book line. Hell, I used to even write fan fiction for Sonic when I was early on in high school. Probably still on my DeviantArt if you can find it. But what does this have to do with the current video topic? Nothing. I just wanted to share my love for Sonic before I started the video. Now, before I, truly begin, I would like to say that these games are my favorites, and they may not line up with what your favorites are. I have played many Sonic games, but I have not played them all. They were either out of my reach or I did not have the motivation to play them. So the Rush games, the Rivals games, and the Storybook games won't be here. I haven't played them. That being said, let's begin. Starting with number 10 is Shadow the Hedgehog. While technically not a Sonic game, it's still a part of the main story and Sonic's in it, so it counts. It stars my personal favorite character, Shadow the Hedgehog, as he goes through multiple levels fighting for himself, the Sonic heroes, or the villain Black Doom. I'm not going to get into the mess of the story because that would take forever. Coming out after Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog plays almost exactly the same without as many bugs or as many issues as Heroes did. He mostly has the same moveset he did in Heroes with the addition of giving him guns. Why Sonic Team decided why did he need guns? Like, I'm not complaining about it, I actually enjoyed them, but like, how did that come up in the meeting? The level design was okay. None really stood out aside from Sky Troops. Same with the soundtrack. It was interesting, but not many songs aside from the vocal songs really stood out to me. None of them were really bad, but they weren't bangers in my opinion. My main complaint is how the branching storylines really didn't mean anything at the end. It did add a ton of replayability and it was overall enjoyable, but I'm not sure why they did that. But I still think it's a solid game. At number 9 is the original Sonic the Hedgehog, one of the games that started it all for me. Sonic, in my opinion, set the bar high when it came to platforming games back in the early 90s, and as old as this game is, it still holds up even now in 2023. At least the early parts of the game, at least. The first 3 stages were great, but the last 4 kind of became marathons, and it really shows the unforgiving level design this game had. Usually in Sonic games, if you mess up, the game will set you back a bit and give you the chance to try again. Not in the first Sonic game. I can't count the number of times I made a minor mistake and it just killed me. Aside from that, even though this game has been outdone by its successors, it's still a solid game to play. Sliding in at number 8 is everyone's favorite Sonic Adventure 2. To many, it's the greatest Sonic game that was ever made. To me, it's a good game as long as you were playing the Speed stage or you were in the Chow Garden. The Knuckles and Rouge stages weren't too bad. The Tails and Eggman stages were really annoying me and weren't fun at all. Yeah, to hell with this. It's hard for me to put this low on a list because overall, the story was amazing, the level design was great, and the music was phenomenal. Live and Learn is probably one of the best OSTs ever made for Sonic. The game is iconic and fans all around would love to see this game get remade, me included. It's aged pretty well and I think it deserves it, though I would like to touch the Advanced series first. At number 7 is Sonic 3 and Knuckles, a game so big and amazing they had to split it into 2 different games and develop them simultaneously. Sonic 3 was released first in February of '94, with Sonic and Knuckles being released 7 months later in October. Now, I didn't get a chance to play these games until the early 2000s after getting the Sonic Mega Collection Plus for the PS2. When I did, I instantly fell in love with them. The gameplay was the same as it was in previous games, with the addition of being able to play as Knuckles. The level design was pretty good too, aside from, Sandopolis. The music was perfect, there wasn't really a single track that I disliked, and the elemental shields are probably the best power-ups classic Sonic ever had. For me, Sonic 3 and Knuckles set the bar for a classic Sonic experience and wouldn't be topped for 23 years. At number 6 is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. This was actually the first Sonic game I ever played in '96. Along with other games like Batman and Robin and The Lion King, this is what got me into video games. As I said earlier, this is a game I actually didn't beat until much later in life. I always made it to the end of Wing Fortress Zone before the end boss just put a stop to me. I was around 5 years old at the time, and it took me 10 years before I could even beat it. Sonic 2 is a great sequel to Sonic 1, adding Tails, the spin dash, and more forgiving level design. The music by far is my favorite out of all the classic Sonic games, with Emerald Hill Zone and the special stage being highlights for me. I would even argue that Emerald Hill Zone is better than Green Hill Zone, but Sonic Team is not ready for that conversation. Surprisingly to me, at number 5 is Sonic Unleashed. I say surprisingly because when I made this video, I started to replay some of these games, and I know that I hated this game. It was up there with Sonic Boom, Sonic 06, and Sonic Origins. After giving Sonic Unleashed another go, it turns out I liked more than just the daytime stages. I actually enjoyed the nighttime stages as well. Sure, they weren't the best, and I think they overstayed their welcome, but the combat in them wasn't really that bad, and the music was good too. Though the daytime stages are still where I prefer to spend my time replaying. I also believe that Unleashed was the best control and boost game from Sonic. Colors really wasn't that fun, or really good for that matter. Generations, while great, was a little bit too easy, and Forces was automated dog shit. There is one game I think did a better job though. At number 4 is Sonic Generations. Developed for the 20th anniversary for Sonic, Generations takes you through multiple stages from Sonic's past as both modern and classic Sonic, who was sadly made to be mute in this game. This game is a nostalgia trip for old Sonic fans like me. Aside from the horrible boss fight, this game really didn't have any issues, and I'm seriously. The horrible final boss fight, oh my god. The other boss fights weren't really that hard. Metal Sonic, Shadow, Silver, they weren't hard at all. But this fight was hard because of the shitty controls. That's really my only problem with the last final boss fight. However, this is still a good game. One of the best things I enjoyed about it was being able to change the stage music. Stages like Rooftop Run and Crisis City hits different when playing their respective game's main theme song. Dropping in at number 3 is Sonic Mania. This game was made for Sonic's 25th anniversary, and like Generations, is one big old nostalgia trip for old fans like me, mostly for those who missed the classic games. It's a mix of some of the most popular Sonic stages from the past like Green Hill, Chemical Plant, and Flying Battery, along with some new stages. They made new sprites and had the amazing T-Los make the soundtrack. You could play as Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles on the main game, and with DLC you could play as Mighty and Ray. By the way, Mighty broke the game. He made it way too easy. I had a lot of fun with this game, and I replayed it multiple times on my Switch and on my PC. It felt just like the classic games, and the new drop dash was a great addition. I didn't enjoy the blue sphere stages, but I think it's just a me problem, probably a skill issue. That aside, Mania is one of the best 2D Sonic games around, and I am hoping to get a sequel or a new line of 2D Sonic games soon. At number 2 is Sonic Frontiers, one of the most controversial Sonic games ever. Frontiers had a lot of expectations to me. This was their first open world Sonic game, and it really shows. For me, the game met and exceeded a lot of my expectations, which honestly after Forces, they weren't high to begin with. But the game is good. They delivered on some great music, some pretty solid level design, fun boss battles, and no heavily automated sections. And the story is the best I've seen in a while. I guess that's what happens when you hire Ian Flynn to do some good writing. Now, the combat was the part I was really most nervous about, but they really put something amazing together that was enjoyable and challenging enough to keep me interested. In the next game though, I do hope they can take some influence from the Yakuza franchise, at least when it comes to presenting boss battles. And at number 1, finally, it's Sonic Heroes. There are so many reasons why this game is my favorite Sonic game of all time. I love the music, it has the best voice acting cast, and I also, strangely enough, love the 3D models they use for the game. I'm aware of the bad bugs and glitches that this game has, but it doesn't really take away from how much fun this game is for me. Everything else I said, though, is true. The game has the best OST out of any Sonic game ever made. There has never been a more solid voice acting cast. While Tails and Amy have gotten better voice actors as time has passed, the ones in this game were still good. But my main favorites are all in this game. Ryan Drummond as Sonic, David Humphrey as Shadow, Scott Dreyer as Knuckles. I know others will disagree with me, but for me, they remain to be the best voice actors for these 3 characters, and I will die on that hill. And that's it. Those are my top 10 favorite Sonic games of all time. If you're a Sonic fan and you think my list is completely wrong, feel free to leave a comment down below. I would love to hear what your favorite games are. And if you enjoyed this video, let me know. I might do more stuff like this. Today was just a special day because, you know, it's my birthday and why not? Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one.